Hello, this is Lorna from Witham URC with our midweek Keeping Connected video. These are really exciting times for us as a fellowship as we think about our mission within our community. It's an opportunity for us to see how we might be a blessing in our community in such a way as to see individual lives and the community as a whole changed, if only a little bit at first. And change can come about in so many ways, big or small. During our coffee and chat after the service on Sunday morning, we had a brilliant illustration of this. Catherine Heppenstall was telling us about when she was serving with the British Army in Kosovo. She was responsible for sourcing their food, and she negotiated with the local baker to buy the bread for the British troops from him rather than having it flown as a half-baked bread, part-baked bread, out from the UK. And as a result of the additional business, he was able to buy a bread slicing machine, which increased his turnover and his profit more, to the extent that he was able to send his son to Switzerland to learn the art of being a chocolatier. And it reminded me of God's words to Jeremiah, which you can find in chapter 29 of the book named after him. And this is just a very short excerpt. This is what the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of Israel, says to the captives he has exiled to Babylon from Jerusalem. Work for the peace and prosperity of the city where I sent you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, for its welfare will determine your welfare. And a few verses later, there's a really famous promise which says, For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. I realise that we aren't actually in exile, although you could say that as Christians we are foreigners who will be going home at some time in the future. But we should all be working for the peace and prosperity of where we are, our community of Witham. We should be praying for Witham. During lockdown, a large number of people have returned to shopping locally rather than going further afield. And that means that local butchers and grocers have flourished. And it's a double benefit because it can also cut out the single-use plastic packaging, which many of us are much more aware about nowadays and trying to be, of course, more eco-friendly by avoiding it. As a fellowship, we are seeking God's will for our mission. There are so many possibilities, literally dozens of things that we could do. And I know some of you have thought of some great ideas, but we can't do them all, not if we want to do some of them effectively. We cannot be all things to all people. We can't be everything for everyone. And of course, we are part of a community. We want to fill a gap rather than duplicating what's already being offered. So we need to consider that too. So to help us with this, we have a day of prayer and fasting that will be on Thursday the 13th of May. We're going to pray into this and discern the big picture into which we can fit the smaller pieces. Please don't wait until then to pray about it. Please start praying now. But we'd love your ideas, preferably by Thursday 20th of May, so that we can think more about it at the next church meeting, which is on Tuesday 25th. It's exciting to think that we might have some new ideas of how to do things differently, or some new things. But I'm also aware that can be a bit scary. How will we adapt? How will we cope with changes, even minor changes? It's comfortable being where we are, because even if it's not perfect, and we know it isn't, it's what we know. But that's settling for second, or even third, or fourth best. Whereas God is worthy of, and so deserves, and also wants, our best. It reminds me of the people in the desert who, despite moaning incessantly to Moses about the conditions in the desert, were scared to move out of it, to the extent that Moses needed reassurance. And he said to God, If you don't personally go with us, Please don't make us leave this place. How will anyone know that you look favourably on me and on your people, if you don't go with us? For your presence among us sets us apart from all other people on the earth. If we are following God's will, not ours, God will be among us and with us. God will prepare the way for us. God will go ahead of us. Now that doesn't mean that it will all be plain sailing. We know that trials strengthen our faith and our perseverance. It doesn't mean we won't make any mistakes, because of course we will continue to be human. So we will make mistakes. But when we are tempted to look at our resources and our abilities, when we are discouraged by obstacles or people, we refocus on God to check we haven't deviated from his purposes to ours. To check our motives, that they are still kingdom-based, not selfish. We realign our hearts with his, and we reset our minds to stay on his, trusting solely in him and relying totally on him and his power. So, exciting and challenging times ahead. And please do consider the fast. Even if you're not able to do a 24-hour fast, you could fast for one meal. The real point is just to pray a bit more during that time. And while we're talking of challenges, please don't forget the challenge for the 30 million steps for Christian Aid. It started on the 1st of May, continues till the 31st. Every step will count. When I last looked, we had over 350,000 steps, and lots of people haven't yet contributed. So please step out if you can, and of course, donate to Christian Aid as well if you can, please. So, we've got lots of praying to do. We've got lots of walking to do. We could even pray as we walk, but not with your eyes closed, please. Bless you. See you next week. Goodbye.